Welcome back to Buckets WNBA edition. I'm your host, Jim Turvey. It is a family Friday. It is a guest, a new guest, yet another new guest. We're expanding the family. Each week here. This week we have Kate Constable on, who had me on her show. I've been a longtime follower of her for W sports in general, betting in general. Really sharp mind out there. If you're somehow not following, on Better Angle, on BetMGM Game Day, kind of all over the place, really kind of putting out all sorts of good content. Another Chicagoan, we were joking before the pod. We run deep with Chicago on Buckets WNBA and Buckets in general. Sean Little on Buckets, and then obviously Danny and Calvin in the Bet She Wins crew over there. So Kate, really glad to have you on. First time. How are things going? It's great to have you on.
Yeah, Jim, it's great to be on. Thanks for having me. I told you I've been a long-time Buckets listener, both NBA and WNBA, so this is very fun to be on. Glad you got to come on my show last week, and now I can return the favor, so I'm excited.
Excellent. So do you want to walk through a little bit of your background with sports betting in general? Just first time on, I always love to hear how people ended up, in this space in general and kind of their journeys. I love that storyline. So what was it for you?
Yeah, for me, I was just kind of in regular sports broadcasting in general, not anything betting related, but I figured if I had a little money on games or a little action, I would pay closer attention. And if I bet props, I'd follow players and trends a little bit more closely and really understand teams and players and their tendencies. So that's just how I got into betting in general. I mean, I would put $2-3 on a game, and that's kind of just how I started. And my uncle and he lived out in the suburbs here, and that was the only family I had around here because my whole family lives in Minnesota. So it was fun on Saturdays. I'd go out to his house and we'd watch college football together and we'd bet on games, and that's kind of how it all got started. And I figured, I was okay at it, not great starting out, but I enjoyed it, and it was such a fun challenge that I thought, okay, well, maybe we could make something out of this. And that's when betting was just kind of on the up and up at the time, and so I thought good time to kind of get in on the ground floor and see if I could make something of it. And then in terms of, I started betting football and NBA, and then 3-4 years ago started betting WNBA a little bit just to kind of have another path and avenue of content that I could put out there within the betting space. And because the lines were a little softer in the W, even 3-4 years ago than they are now, they've gotten a lot sharper, still not the sharpest of all the sports. So kind of fell in love with the W again. And I played basketball growing up. That was kind of my main sport all through high school. And I didn't play in college at all, but so basketball is always kind of my first love. So the marriage of the betting and basketball all together kind of came to be.
I love it. Well, basketball in Minnesota is huge, but especially on the women's side. I think women's basketball in Minnesota, I got my first job in sports in Minnesota, and I was at a daily newspaper. So what part of Minnesota?
I grew up. So I'm Chicagoan now because I've been here for over a decade. So I claim a Chicagoan, but I grew up in Minnesota, in Minnetonka.
Oh wow, yeah. I was far north. I was up in Crookston. I don't know if you know.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know Crookston.
There's a satellite campus of the U up there. So I would come down to the cities and hang out. And yeah, women's basketball in Minnesota is kind of a mecca. It's kind of the spot. So that's really cool and not surprising at all. And how has the season been treating you? How has this from fandom, from betting, from everything?
It's been more difficult betting this year.
It definitely has been.
A lot harder. I feel like I had a lot more success the past couple of years. But I think it's a good thing almost a little bit, just because more people are starting to bet it, and the sport's growing and the popularity is growing. And so the books are paying a little bit closer attention to things. And so they are just getting sharper, which stinks for us, but is good for the sport and good for basketball fans in general. So it's been a struggle. But we still have 17, 18 games left. So we got some time to kind of end on a high note.
Exactly. It's so fun. Every guest I have on goes through the exact same. It's been a lot tougher because it went from it was it truly was like shooting fish in a barrel for a while. And this year now it's it's established and it's really tough. And sports betting in general is tough. And then now it's at that level. It's like, oh my God, what happened?
We're here. We've arrived.
And everyone's it's a good thing. It means there's more eyeballs. It means there's more money being poured in, via bets or whatever. So overall a good thing, but it's been a tougher season. All that being said, let's get to our best bets in our 5-game slate. So I'll walk us through. We got a great slate on Friday, 5 games again. couple pretty tight spreads, couple relatively clean injury reports, couple not so clean. I'll walk us through the spread, then we will do some best bets, and then we'll have a fun little second half of the show as well.
Awesome.
So for Friday's slate, we have the New York Liberty at the Connecticut Sun. Sun are 11-point underdogs at home. A lot of home dogs on Friday. 4 of the 5 games are home dogs. Total there is 169. And for that one, we've got Stewie, Kennedy Burke, Niara Sabally all out for the Liberty. Emma Mieseman, haven't heard word. I don't think that this would be the game they would bring her back, although it might be kind of a soft landing for her, so I could see that both ways. Connecticut actually has a clean bill of health. Everyone is healthy for Connecticut right now. Second game, we've got the Fever at the Wings. Fever are favored by 2.5, totals 170. Only player missing in this game is the most famous one, is Caitlin. Everyone else is there for both teams. For Dallas, that's pretty new. They've been dealing with injury stuff all season, but they are fully healthy right now. Then we've got the Valkyries on a back-to-back in Chicago. They're favored by 5.5 with a total of 156.5. That Valks favored on the road in Chicago is in part because we have Angel Reese and Ariel Atkins out for Chicago. And then 3 more questionable. We got Michaela Onyenwere, Haley Van Lith, and Sevi Uzin all questionable in that game. We've got Phoenix at Atlanta, probably the marquee game of the night. Atlanta's a little banged up. That's why they're 3.5-point dogs at home. Totals 164.5. We got Griner doubtful. Ryan Howard, I didn't see an injury report either way on her, so I would list her as TBD. I'm thinking that's more likely doubtful. I don't think she returns. They said she's out for sure throughout July, so it'd be kind of weird to see her back August 1st. I would guess There's a couple more games there. And then Jordan Cannon is questionable. She missed last game with an illness. She's still questionable. She, I would almost think, is like a 60% likely to play if I had to be guessing there. And finally, we got the LA Sparks at the Seattle Storm, the only home favorite of the day. The Storm are minus 5.5. Totals 167. And we've got clean bills of health for both teams there, which you love to see. Again, the big news there is Cameron Brink had her first game back last game and is now likely to keep playing as long as she stays healthy. So, Kate, let's get to the best bets. I'm going to do our little pro read here for folks. And once again, this is a reminder that our WNBA projections are available in the Action Network app. So if you're looking for an edge betting WNBA sides, totals, or player props, Action Pro projections are the perfect tool for your toolbox this season. If you aren't an Action Pro subscriber yet, you can get $20 off an annual subscription right now. Just visit actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up. That's $20 off the annual subscription price at actionnetwork.com/pro. Kate, let's hear those best bets.
All right. Do I run through them all at the top here?
Yeah, let's just do. Okay. You do yours, I'll do mine, and then we'll circle back. We'll kind of go game by game. Actually, is what I've been doing lately.
Okay. My best bets. So I'm going to go the under in Sparks and Storm, under 165.5. This line is not out yet, but Rachel Banham, I'm going to take her points over. It was 11.5 last game. I would guess maybe it's gone up a tick, but we could even, Jim, I would be fine saying like Rachel Banham 15 plus in this game.
Yeah.
You'll likely get a little plus money on it or closer to even money, but I think we can, just as a point for people listening, 15 plus, I think that is a decent look for Rachel Banham. And then I'm also going to go over on a Sabrina Ionescu on Friday, over 20.5 points. So those are my 3 for that slate.
Love it. I've got 4. I've got 2. I've got money line, a total, and 2 player props. I'm going with Dallas money line here. This has moved a little bit. I'm going to actually triple check it live because I had a number here that I don't think is up to date. While I'm doing that, I'll say I am joining you on that Sparks and Storm under. So that's a handshake best bet there. What could possibly go wrong this season with a handshake best bet? For Dallas, I am still seeing a plus 150 out there at BetMGM. So I'll make that the best bet. Dallas money line plus 150. In that same game, I'm going to take JJ Quinterly under 9.5 points. And then finally, my last one is Satu Sabally under 20.5 points in rebounds. So yeah, let's walk through the slate here. We're kind of go game by game. In this, we'll start with the one that was the top of the rundown here, the Liberty at the Sun. I don't have any best bets here. You have Sabrina and her points over. Why don't you talk me through that look here?
Yeah, just with Stewie being out, Sabrina, I mean, she's already one of their go-to scorers, one of the leaders of their offense, but that's going to have to ramp up even a little bit more without Stewie in there and without Kennedy Burke too. Yep. So Sabrina, I mean, over her last 4 games, she's been averaging almost 27 points per game, which gets you well over that 20.5 mark. Since the All-Star break, and specifically on the road too, she's averaging 6 more points than she was prior to the All-Star break. So her usage has ticked up a little bit, even without Stewie. just these last 2 games. And I don't see this game with the Sun being a blowout. I know it's an 11-point spread, and that's a pretty big spread, but I don't think this is going to be a game like we saw between these two teams earlier in the season where the Liberty win by 50. I mean, that was wild in that game. So as long as Sabrina's playing the entire game, which I think she will, I don't see this being a game where she sits, midway through the fourth because the game's out of hand and the Liberty have won and she doesn't have to be in the game. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter than that, especially because what we've seen with the Liberty so far, and I know John Cole Jones is a different player altogether, and position and everything, but like the Liberty haven't adjusted very well when they have a significant player out of the lineup. And so that's why I think with Sabrina, she's going to have to contribute offensively like she always does, but those numbers are going to have to continue to be there. And I don't think this is going to be, once again, a blowout. So I like Sabrina to go over 20.5. She's been playing really well right now. She's going to have to continue that, especially with the Liberty having dropped a couple games recently. So I think that she'll get plenty of minutes, or her typical usual minutes, where she's going to be able to get over this number just fine.
Yeah, I agree with you on this game. Connecticut as a fully healthy team has actually been a little bit pesky. Layla Khan has been one who, as soon as she returned, they started to do pretty well ATS. So she's a pretty key contributor there. And I'm with you. Stewie, Burke, Sabley, all out, all in the front court. New York has not been handling these people being out very well. We saw last game Sabrina being really, really aggressive in that Minnesota game. I love that. And it wasn't just shooting threes. I mean, she had that one deep three that got the funny reaction from Cheryl there, but she was attacking too. A lot of her points in the first half were coming in the paint. This Connecticut defense is, I believe they give up the most points in the WNBA. I believe I was looking at they give up the most points and score the fewest. They're just the worst team. So it's ironic that we're saying they might hang in this game, but here, New York is very dinged up, and Connecticut actually, for being the worst team in the W, they certainly have had blowouts, but they've also they beat teams recently that they had no business meeting. I could see them hanging in this game. So I really like this one. I also always love a 3-point shooter on a multiple of 3. So that 20.5, I love. I can easily picture her. If it's a 21 late, needing that last 3 to get up to 21. So I like that one there. Let's move along to Indiana at Dallas. I believe I'm the only one with a bet here. I've got 2 bets. So the first is a Dallas money line. So part of this is that they're just finally fully healthy. Dano and I talked on the pod on Monday, kind of starting to be Dallas curious here. They had their best game of the season when they beat the Liberty over the weekend. Then they were right in the game against Atlanta. Naz Hillman, we'll talk about her a little bit later. Naz Hillman, game winner, great game actually, really, really fun watch. But they now get that Maddie Seagrass back too, so they really can go 10 deep with really solid players in the rotation. Haley Jones has been a revelation in Dallas. She's one of these players. I've got it on the long list here of episode ideas I want to do at some point, where it's these kind of role players whose on off really pops and who I think that maybe matter more to the spread than you would think. Second Naz Hillman reference of the podcast. She's like the ultimate example of that. You look at some of her on off court. Yes. It's crazy. They're really, really strong with her on, and they struggle with her off. That's been the deal since Haley got to Dallas. They've been plus 0.86 with her on the court. That's like borderline New York Liberty. That is really impressive. And they're, on the other hand, they're like -8 with her off the court. Now, a lot of that was before she came to town. A lot of that was when she was injured. The point being that 16-point on-off differential is truly an elite tier. That's like with the best players in W. Again, there's some noise in that. The Wings started the season 1-11. That was before she got to town. But when she got to town, that was when Lee Yaru also arrived. They had some of these pieces that really have done well for Dallas. The Fever have been solid without Caitlin. So they're up to 15-12. Their record with Caitlin almost matches their record without her at this point. They found a nice little groove here. I don't think that they're 6 points better than the Wings. I think they're a few points better than Dallas. But I think I see a 3.5 out there spread-wise. But then I'm targeting the money line because it's Dallas, right? They're the least consistent, most all over the place. It's been less so lately. The last game they actually covered the 3.5. So maybe, sprinkle that a little bit as well if you want. But I definitely could see Dallas winning this game here at home against Indiana as they kind of try to linger around this playoff position. If they really make a push, they can make things kind of interesting. The flip side of the coin of everything I just said is all these players back is the rotation gets tighter. And that's why I'm targeting JJ Quinterly under her points. The minutes have been trending down anyways, 25, 17, 15 the last 3 games as they get all these players back. First it was Dejanay Carrington. Last game, oh man, who did they return last game? There's another name that they returned last game that I'm blanking on right now. And the Indiana defense has been strong, especially without Caitlin. Shout out Calvin from our preseason bet, who said they were going to be a top 6 defense. They're right around there right now. And really, it just clearly hasn't been once they have not been shorthanded. She's averaging 5.4 points in her last 5 games. Once they have it near, she can fade into the background a little bit. She's still a strong player, but she's just not getting that many field goal attempts with a fully healthy Dallas team. So I'm going to take the under on her points there. Did you have any non-betting thoughts or any leans that you had in this game or thoughts on those bets before we move along to the next game?
I really like your Quinterly bet because when she kind of popped earlier in the season, that was when Arike was out for a little while. And so she had to take over a little bit bigger role. And now that they have their full arsenal back, I think that's a great look. The Fever, for as good as they've been playing lately, which they have been playing really well, even without Caitlin, but they're kind of in a funky spot. And I don't typically pay attention to schedule spots in the W quite as heavily as I do, or weigh them quite as heavily as I do in the NBA, just because the NBA season's longer. You can find some of those spots for. But it's an awkward spot. They had a home game against Las Vegas. They go on the road to Chicago, back home for one game against Phoenix, and now they're on the road for the start of a 4-game trip. And
funky.
So those short trips back and forth, and then the start of a long one, it's just kind of a funky spot for the Fever. So when I saw you throw this bet in the rundown, I thought, oh, well, that's actually a very sharp, good look. I definitely agree with all your thoughts there.
Well, and I love that because the flip side of it, I hadn't even looked at Indiana, but I was looking at Dallas, and I believe this is like the 5th in a 5-game homestand. So they've been home for a while. They've rested.
Been comfy at home. Yep.
Exactly. So I really like that from a spot as well. Let's go to the next game. You have a bet here. This is Golden State at Chicago. I don't have any bets here, but I love the Bantam play here. Bantam was our survivor pick last game. We're still live. Dano and I both hit the survivor play, so we're still good. Obviously love Bantam. We're going to actually talk about her a little bit later as well. All these teases towards the second half of the podcast here, but good synergy on this Bantam pick. But talk to me about what drew you to it specifically.
Yeah, Rachel Bantam, my Minnesota girl. Grew up in Minnesota, a couple years younger than me, but we cross paths every once in a while in high school.
That's awesome.
But she's just been so good for Chicago lately with how depleted their roster is. Angel Reese already ruled out of this game, right? So we don't have to worry about whether or not she's, game time decision. Ariel Atkins, those are the top 2 scorers for Chicago when, everyone is healthy and throughout the regular season. But Rachel Bantam, her production and her usage, her, shot volume has gone up significantly. 14, 15, 11 shots in her last 3 games. She shot over 50% from the field in 3 of her last 4. And this offense, there are not that many options on offense for Chicago with all the players that they have out of their lineup. And so she's been that veteran player. She's one of the oldest on the roster. I believe she's 32. She's been around the block. She's okay in these situations where she has to just kind of be the go-to person and totally command that offense. So I think she continues to fire. If you look at some of her shot volume earlier on in the season, when Angel Reese was playing, when Ariel Atkins, she was shooting maybe 3, 5, 8 max shots a game, and now we're getting up to 15 or so. So just that volume, I don't think her number has adjusted quite as much as it maybe should, which is why we'll go with 15 for this game, 15 plus. I'm interested to see what that number comes out at, what that price is, because I bet her in that what was it? The Mystics game, the last game as well. Yeah. I joined you and Dano, I guess. And that was 11.5 in that game. And I thought that was so low, especially coming off that 26 point. I know the Bucks aren't going to move it up, significantly because she had one great outing, but she's had a couple. Confidence is there, and this team is going to rely on her.
They really are. And she's shooting incredibly from deep. And the better you shoot, the more your coach is going to say, shoot more, shoot more, especially on this offense. Tyler Marcy got to just be basically just keep shooting, Rachel. I want to see your percentage come down because that will mean you have taken enough that at this point, take more.
Right.
So I love that.
Valkyrie's also on a back-to-back too. So maybe defense, tired legs, something you can just another notch on the old belt for Rachel Bantam to go over points.
And Valkyries actually give up a fair amount of threes for having a good defense. They actually more kind of compact and will allow the outside shooting. So I really like that look. Phoenix Atlanta, ironically, for being maybe the game of the night, we don't have any best bets. So we'll oh no, I do. I'm sorry, I do. I've got the Satu bet. So it's a player prop here for you guys. this is when I'm going back to the well. I believe I've hit this last 2 games, maybe even 3. So since returning from injury, Satu just hasn't quite looked the same, and they've been managing their minutes. This is one where I'm a little surprised the books haven't adjusted, because the coach came out and said, we're going to keep their minutes low on this really tough 8-game stretch. So he's averaging 10.8 and 3.5 rebounds in those 4 games. And the minutes, more importantly, are hanging around 24 a game. There was a little bit of worry last game because she went like 20, then 21, then 27. So I was like, okay, are they reestablishing her at 27, 28, maybe even push up to 29? No, she played 24 minutes in a close game. This should be a close game again. This is a really good matchup, like we said. But I still think the minutes are going to hover around 25. And even more so with Phoenix now being fully healthy, it seems like Satu either, she's not playing her best and she's not getting her highest usage. She's kind of more being deferring. We saw Alyssa Thomas really have, maybe the best game of her career last game. And teams are not going to let her, I don't think Atlanta's going to let them be here, but Atlanta takes a lot of threes away. And that's often what Satu is doing. She's on the perimeter waiting for Alyssa to drive and kick out to her. So I don't think it's a great matchup for her. The rebounding has really dropped off of late. So I wonder if there is something lingering there with Satu, or if she just hasn't quite worked out, her fit in this with everyone fully healthy, or what it is. But with the minutes thing being spelled out explicitly, and then just, some recent games where it's clear that she's not quite clicking, I'm going to go back to the well one more time and hope that this Atlanta defense and Satu maybe still working her way back it is enough for the under there. Did you have any thoughts on either that play or the game as a whole?
I just kept going back and forth on this game, and I wanted so badly to take Atlanta in this one, but I felt like I was just kind of forcing myself. I was looking for reasons to back Atlanta versus like trying to assess everything and let the bet come to you versus just like forcing it. So that's why I stayed off of this one. And then with the injuries that Atlanta has too, I think that's probably the right move for me, but I'm going to be disappointed if Atlanta pulls off the upset at home and gets the win. But either way, this is a one that the Mercury kind of need to have. They have not played well lately. They've dropped quite a few. So they're still fine within the playoff standings and race right now. But just to like get some momentum going off of this road trip, it would be nice for them to get a win. So I could make cases for both sides. This is why I'm just off it altogether.
I think that's very wise. Saying the way you phrased it is so good too. It's like, wait till the bet comes to you. If you go in looking for something, it usually doesn't go well. It's usually when it comes to you that you're like, oh, this is the one, let's go for it. And that usually works a lot better. This is also kind of a pivotal, if folks, I think we've given out in this podcast, both Nate Tibbetts and Carl Smeska got pretty decent numbers for Coach of the Year. Now the Valkyries just keep winning. I saw they were winning at halftime again against the Mystics today, which is a very big game for playoff positioning. If they get in the playoffs, I think Natalie Nakase is going to win this award. If not, I think that, games like this Phoenix-Atlanta game with 2 of the guys who I would have right behind her in the running for it would be a pretty big one. I personally would be content with either the 2 of them winning, but something to keep an eye on for futures bettors if they're watching that game. Let's go to the final game of the night, the Sparks and Storm. We have the exact same play here. I will let you lead with your logic, and then I'll follow up if I somehow have any bit of it that's different than you. But what did you like about this under in Seattle?
Well, I always typically like Seattle's an under team. Their defense is just, it's so good, right? They've been number 1 defense for a while. Over their last 5 games, they have the best defensive rating in the league. And for the Sparks, like they're usually the other side where their offense has been great and you usually look to overs for the Sparks team. But if you really kind of nail down what they've done in the last 3, 4, 5 games, is their defense has improved a ton. They've gone from 11th on the season in defensive rating up to that 5th spot over their last 5 games. And then I think the addition of Cameron Brink, when you add another player of her caliber to an offense, like things get a little clunky right away. It's not always smooth sailing where everyone's kind of adjusting and learning how to play with her, because they really, this rendition of the Sparks didn't play with Cameron Brink all that much last season before she got hurt. Like Kelsey Plum wasn't even on the team. And so adding her into the offense, I wonder if that kind of just isn't quite as seamless as one might think. Where on the other side, Cameron Brink, what I think she will be great as is defense and rim protection. Like that's going to come immediately, where the offense might come 2-3 games down the road. And so I don't think that's going to take a whole lot of time. The Storm also great 3-point defense. allowing the fewest 3-point attempts. They're allowing teams over their last 5 games to shoot 30% from 3, which is the best opponent 3-point defense mark in the league. And the last meeting between these two, Jim, 156.5 was the total. So like we're almost 10 points, a 10-point increase from the last game. It just seems it's just that seems off to me. So I'm gonna go with the under here. Sitting on 165.5.
I love that whole breakdown. I don't have much to add, and I really like the point of Cameron Brink coming back and kind of potentially gumming up offense a little bit. I looked at the defensive impact, and last year it was only a couple points, but this season. So you mentioned how they have been a rough defense for the season. So they've been allowing 109.1 points per 100 possessions with Cameron Brink off the court, which is all of their season except for the 15 minutes she played in the last game. In those 15 minutes, they allowed teams to score 90 points per 100 possessions. That is an insane swing. Now, it's not going to be that big a swing, but this is a great matchup for Brink to be a potentially big swing because the Seattle front court is their biggest strength. Nneka Ogwumike, Ezzy Magmagor, that front court, even, Gabby and Skylar driving to the basket, a lot of Seattle's offense, at times, if anything, we say they need to score more from 3. It's because they are so centered in the middle of the near the basket. Cameron Brink's an incredible defender, and it looked it in game 1. Now, again, small sample size, blah, blah, blah. But the defense looks better with her on the court. Yeah. And I love the number you pulled. I had no idea that the total was so far off last game. I'm really surprised it hasn't been bet down yet. Makes me think that we probably should bet it and post it right after this podcast because it's probably going to move.
Yeah. Well, it's moved up a couple points. I mean, it could just be the casual fan. And I mean, had I not stopped to break this, like really dive into this game today, I probably would have thought the same thing. But the casual fan looks at the Sparks and they're like, oh, they just got Cameron Brink back too. She's a great player. They're probably going to score even more. Yeah. And so it's ticked up a point or 2 from the open, I believe, but I think it's a little too high.
All right, so maybe we have time.
On the right side, Jim.
I'm still going to bet it. I'm still betting it as soon as we get off this podcast. I love when the me and the guest and me and Ordino are on the same thing. It never goes wrong. So I'll lock that in right after. Right. So now we got to do a same game parlay, and ironically, we did a great job covering the slate. We have at least a bet for every game. But we don't have a whole lot of multiple bets in one game. Is there any game script as you were looking through stuff that you thought might make for a good parlay? Should we we could break the rules and kind of just parlay a bunch of plays across games together? There's nothing saying that we can't do that. What are your thoughts?
Sure. Let's do that. Well,
okay.
Should we include our under in Sparks and Storm?
I think we definitely should. Let's see if we just put our best bets together, what we get actually. Because we haven't really done that very often, but I am curious. We have 7 bets here, so all right. Let's start with Sparks and Storm, which is up to 168.
Yeah,
I'm almost a little nervous now. That's so far.
I hate when it's like that because it's like something's fishy. I'm missing something.
That does seem fishy.
What do they know that we don't know?
We're gonna put it in there for now. We're gonna at least see what. We won't be able to get the Rachel Banham one. Isn't
That's
out
fine. We can leave that one out.
So let's head over. We'll grab Sabrina's points. We'll go over 20.5. Then we'll hop over to Dallas money line, which is plus 130 at the book. So shop this around, obviously, because I just opened up the first book I happened to look at. And then we will go to Quinterly points as the final one and just see what we've got here. Oh, Quinterly's down to 8.5, at least at this book. I mean, this is a pretty long number, actually. We've got plus 1368, just those 4 things.
Not bad.
So I think that's the play this time. Unless you want to switch up to any sort of script, I think that's pretty good.
No, I like that. I think that's a great number, and I like our bets too.
Awesome. I will be logging it in the app once we are off this pod. So to transition through to the second half of the podcast here, we kicked around a couple ideas. Folks, you guys gave so many good ideas. We're just running back some more mailbag questions. Kate was liking some of the mailbag questions, so we ran through a couple more of these. We've got 4 in total. But real quick before we get to that, football season is here. We've got some huge improvements and updates coming on the award-winning Action Network app. Very excited to discuss in the weeks ahead. But to get the most out of the app, you still need to be an Action Pro subscriber. It's only with Action Pro you get real-time pick alerts from folks like me, folks like Sean Kerner, folks like Stuckey, the whole crew, Brandon Anderson, obviously, anyone you can picture as an action expert. You really have to have the Action Pro subscription to get their picks right away. Otherwise, you got to face the delay. Oftentimes, lines have moved because of the big audience of people following folks. You can also get the pro projections. That's Sean Kerner and the predictive analytics team, Nick Giffen, that whole crew. Lots of other benefits. Right now, Buckets WNBA listeners can get $20 off the annual price of Action Pro. You just go to actionnetwork.com/pro, use the promo code Buckets20. That's actionnetwork.com/pro. Use the code Buckets20 for $20 off the annual price of Action Pro. So let's go into the mailbag. There's 4 questions here. Last time I had like 13 questions. I combined them into a bunch. These were all kind of their own questions. So we just got 4 questions on their own. We'll lead with this one. So Matt asks, which team does the market undervalue the most right now? Is it Atlanta without Howard? Is it the Fever without Clark? Kate, what did you say for this question? What do you think the market is undervaluing the most right now?
Okay, so I struggled with this one a little bit because I don't necessarily think this team quite yet is undervalued, but I'm interested to see how the market adjusts to them going forward. And that's the Sparks that I talked about.
I like
because
this. Yeah.
They had such a tough schedule early on in the season, and they had so many new pieces to that team that they struggled a ton. They kind of feel like they've turned a corner, like something clicked with them where their numbers over their last 5 games, which is kind of when they started winning. And I mean, they were underdogs in 2 of the last 4. They won 2 of those outright. I thought they should have been favored over the Aces in their game on Tuesday. Now that one went completely sideways for the Sparks there. But they're leading the league in field goal percentage. They're 4th in three-point shooting percentage. Again, they went from 11th to 5th in defensive rating, and their net rating went from -3.5 to 6.5. So went from 11th to 2nd over these last 5 games. And so I think they've been fairly priced so far, but they have a softer schedule, or at least comparatively to the first half. I believe they have the 4th easiest schedule remaining. And so they're a team that I'm going to probably look a little bit more to bet on. Now, are they undervalued? That's the word where I'm not quite sure I would say they're totally undervalued yet. But if there's a team that, for the most part, has struggled for this first half of the season or first 3/4 of the season, and I think is going to steadily improve, it's going to be the Sparks. So I'm changing the rules a little bit, Jim, and changing around that question, but it would be the Sparks for me.
No, I totally appreciate that. And I think you're right to say keep an eye on, because I honestly, if it wasn't for the Storm are a team I just write off betting on sides in my lines.
Oh my God,
they're
so
too inconsistent. But I am going to be looking at the Sparks as well. I'm really interested to see. This will be a good test. Although, like we said, anytime you play Storm, it's a little bit, you throw it out the window because you can't really take too much from it. I would totally not be surprised if they went into Seattle and won. But to your point of being undervalued, it seems like the market has a little bit of respect if Seattle's only a 5.5-point favorite, with Seattle being, a very solid playoff team. The team I looked at here, I cheated. I looked at and then got 2 names here. The simple answer is the Lynx. Trista came on last week. It was mentioning how they have the best ATS record and the best record. Like they just keep winning and keep covering, and they're the best team, and they just beat the Liberty, and they just keep doing it over and over again. That's the boring answer. I think that what Matt was asking here is like this moment, like right now, what's the team to kind of be looking at? To me, Minnesota is the zoomed out full season. You just want to bet them and make your money. I think it's Dallas. No surprise. It's the team I bet today. Everyone's back and healthy. Even before they had everyone back, without Maddie, they've smoked New York. They took Atlanta to the wire. This is going to be a good test on Friday. I put my best bet on them. We'll see if they can live up to it. But they're once they got Lee Yuru, once they got Haley Jones, things have really kind of come together. Talked about they started 1-11, and they've really taken off since then. So to me, Dallas is the team at this moment, but I think that Sparks team is another to keep an eye on. Hopefully they aren't playing each other like the next game. I hate that when there's 2 teams I want to look to bet, and then they're playing each other. I'm like, oh, come on.
That's always a buzzkill.
Love that question. We'll go on next to Amanda, who gave me the perfect opportunity to celebrate early and jinx a bet that we have here. But her question is great. It's, who is the best player off the bench in the league right now? Kate, who was your answer to this question?
Jim, we're going to have a tie here because mine was yours as well, which is Naz Hillman for Atlanta. She's just been phenomenal this season. You look at her numbers, and it's comparative to a lot of the starters in the league.
Yeah.
And especially like even the offensive win shares. She's top 20 in offensive win shares and she comes
Wow.
off the bench. That's crazy. Like everyone else on that top 20 list is all starters in the league.
Yeah. She has genuinely been awesome this season. I was looking to pull it up right here as we go. She has, I thought this was right. She has not started a single game either. So she fits this to the exact T of the question. She leads. She has the most points off the bench of any player, total points. Only Natisha Heidemann is even close. She has the most rebounds off the bench. Only Jess Shepard is even close. She has the best plus minus off the bench. Again, Natisha, I know your name, I swear. Natisha Heidemann's only the one only even close. Naz Hillman's been amazing. She hit the game winner the other night. And listen, again, I didn't mind that this question. Let us shout out the fact that posted in the app, a couple of weeks ago, 40-1, the number on her for sixth player of the year. I would say she is the favorite right now. It's her and Natisha Heidemann probably is the co-favorites, but I really like the look on Hillman. I think it would be a very deserving winner. The impact stats are there. I love the offensive win shares, like you said, and she is a two-way player. She's just an all-around really good player and has been really essential for Atlanta. I was talking to someone today who was saying, honestly, she could be in the most improved player conversation almost. She has been that good. So easy answer for me. And I love that you're in line with that, Kate, and love that, again, it gave us a chance to talk about a bet that we logged. So any final thoughts on that, or should we slide to the next one?
I have a question for you on this. So in looking at it, I came across some ESPN analytics site that I have never seen before, and they track WAR, and I've only ever heard of WAR when talking about Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But she's apparently, according to this ESPN site, third in WAR on the Atlanta Dream team. Have you ever heard of WAR for basketball?
I have not. And it's an ESPN one too. This must be something they just debuted. I feel like that's interesting.
Very interesting.
I wonder, is it just like, are they just translating win shares? I'm trying to look where she looks on the team in win shares.
I think so. They have their win probability added. They have WAR. They have. I'll send this to you when we get off.
Like 2.6 WAR?
Let's see.
Because I see she is third in WAR in win shares on the Dream by, like, if we go by Basketball Reference.
Okay.
The win probability added is pretty interesting. I'm guessing that's not like going down to the play-by-play level, but like her hitting that game winner had to be pretty high if it is.
Yeah. I'm seeing
that's interesting.
1.7 in total WAR. They have offensive and defensive WAR. When I came across that, I'm like, I've only ever heard of WAR talking about baseball, never WNBA, even NBA. So, just wanted to
send along. I would definitely love to have a look at that. That's super interesting.
Okay, but yeah, I think she's the clear-cut favorite for that answer.
Love
that question.
All right, we will go along to the next question. We've got Ryan asking, can you share a bold prediction on the trade deadline move that will alter the playoff landscape? I struggled a little bit with this question. What did you come up with?
I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of trades over the next, trade deadline's on the 7th. I think one that could be impactful is something for the Valkyries because they've kind of teetered recently and are right now right out of the playoff spot. So the Mystics, Aaliyah Edwards, I think she could be someone that the Valkyries could benefit from because she's kind of fallen out of the rotation with Washington because of Kiki Irfin and the way she's been playing. That Aaliyah Edwards has kind of taken a back seat this year, but she's still a really good player. And with Kayla Thornton going out for the Valkyries, like they could use another forward. And Aaliyah Edwards is also still on her rookie contract, so it's not like you're adding a player with a massive contract or anything like that. So I don't know all the specifics of how it would work. They'd probably have to trade someone and give up maybe a pick or two down the road. But I think Aaliyah Edwards would probably benefit from going to a new setting, and then without Kayla Thornton, I think the Valkyries, if they want to try and continue to be competitive in this playoff race, which they still are right now. I think she could be someone that they benefit from.
Yeah, I like that answer. It's funny. I kind of like I always, when I look at like potential trade candidates, start from the bottom of the standings, work your way up. I stopped before Washington, but I think you're right to highlight Washington because Washington was never really planning on competing this year. They just got a bunch of rookies who are way better, way earlier than I think than they anticipated. I would not be shocked to see a Washington trade. And I don't think, I'm realizing as you said this, I think if there is going to be a big name, I think it would be Brittany Sykes. I don't think there is anyone else really. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that they're content to kind of hang around the playoffs. And I think she works really well with their young core. But just thinking about it, because honestly, my answer here was, I don't really see, Tina Charles, I don't think is going to impact the playoff landscape. I love Tina, but I don't think she impacts winning a ton.
I thought of her too. Yeah.
Yeah. Marina Mabry is kind of the, obvious name from Connecticut, but they didn't want to trade her at the beginning of the season. She seems like she's having a blast down in Connecticut now. So I don't know if she's going to be looking to be on the move. Dejanay Carrington was the name that I thought of from Dallas, because Dallas is a little bit outside it. Like we said, they have a lot. They actually have like 10 deep. So Dallas could be looking to move someone, but Dejanay, I don't think they would trade. I think they see her as kind of a really good piece next to Arike and Paige, and with good reason. But I could kind of see them saying JJ Quinterly's kind of fills a role of a Dejanay Carrington. Let's flip Dejanay. Let's go really young. Let's get this young core and kind of go together. But once you started talking Washington, I thought, you know what? The one player, because Dejanay Carrington is great, but I don't think she would alter the playoff landscape. I mean, last year we saw Maisha Hines-Allen was traded, and that was like the move that like did anything. She didn't even really play in the finals. She was playing like 10 minutes a game, 8 minutes a game. So I don't think Dejanay Carrington would make a massive impact. Brittany Sykes is the type of player who really could. Yeah. Again, I'd be very surprised if it happened, but it's the only one I can like really logically see. I don't think there's any others. The Valkyries as buyers is an interesting look, though. I think that's pretty interesting because they do have some flexibility. I'm not as good with the cap stuff, but I believe they have some flexibility there. The cap stuff's tricky, and it's the WNBA. It's more confusing than like any other league somehow.
Yeah, especially, and it's going to get even more confusing with the new CBA and all of that stuff next couple of years. I think
it's really will.
Trying to follow all that's going to be a puzzle.
Very fun question though, and then we'll go to our last one here. This one seems not super actionable, so I made it somewhat actionable for you. So what we had here is Dan asked, who do you like for the season 3-point total winner? Had preseason bets on Mabry and McBride at plus 3,500, and I'm not feeling too confident. Well, I'll lead by saying you should feel pretty good. Kayla McBride is currently tied for second. It's this really fun little low cluster, which I think why Dan is asking. So you've got Alicia Gray in the lead with 64. You've got Sabrina at 63, Kelsey McBride at 63, Kayla McBride at 63, Kelsey Mitchell at 63, Kelsey Plum at 63, our beloved Ryan Howard at 56 in fewer games. She's still leading per game. If she come back soon, I don't think that bet is dead. That was a Calvin Best bet on buckets here before the season that was looking so good until she got hurt. And then we've got Rachel Banham down at 56, but on a per minute basis, actually doing about as well as anyone. So this is not available to bet anywhere right now, but I did think it was a fun question. First of all, I wanted to say, Dan, that McBride bet was a very good one, and that I would say it's very live. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to make some odds up, and Kate's going to bet them here, and we can check in by the end of the season to see if the book of Jim stole Kate's money or if Kate stole the book of Jim's money. So the odds I laid out for the rest of the way, I give you no hold. So this is a hold-free market for you. It's a little bit scary because when I was putting these together, I was like, man, I would bet a couple of these. So what I landed on is Kelsey Plum plus 300, Sabrina Ionescu plus 400, Kayla McBride plus 450, Alicia Gray, the leader, at plus 500, Kelsey Mitchell at plus 850, Ryan Howard at plus 1500, and Rachel Banham plus 2500. So in this fake market, what jumped out to you to quote unquote bet?
I think you have these very well priced. You really do. I like Kelsey Plum. If I'm looking for value, obviously Kelsey's probably not the person, but I do think Kelsey is someone that could certainly be leading it. I mean, her numbers are right in line with basically everyone in that clump. She's averaging almost 7 attempts per game. And I also think the addition of Cameron Brink coming back now, like that opens up more of an inside out game, might get Kelsey some more wider open looks on the perimeter that I do like Kelsey. Sabrina, her attempts, I mean, she's attempting more shots than anyone, but her 3-point percentage has been down this year. It's one of the lowest of her entire career. And that scares me a little bit. Alicia Gray, if Ryan Howard comes back, what does that do to Alicia Gray? So those two are kind of funky with each other. I think Kelsey Mitchell at plus 850 for the value that you've laid out. I think that could be sneaky good because she's sitting right there at 63 on the year. So it's not like she's having to make up a ton of space between the top leaders right now. And I'm not sure Caitlin Clark comes back anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think Caitlin's going to be out for a while. I think they play this very safe with her, being so young in the league and the superstar that she is. Like, you don't want a career where you're just, you have lingering injuries forever. So I think Caitlin could be out a couple more weeks. And if that's the case, and Kelsey Mitchell, her volume stays where it is right now, the 850 that you laid out is kind of enticing to me.
I love that. It's so funny listening to you walk through your logic on which, because like it was the exact logic I had. I was like, Kelsey Plum, she's played a couple fewer games, so like on a per game basis, and then they've got the easier schedule and Cameron brings back, so that's why I made her the favorite. Sabrina has the attempts, so I was like, if they just start falling at some point, and with Stewie out, theoretically a little bit higher load on the offense. But I think you're right to pick out Mitchell, because in my mind I was like, well, Caitlin will be back. Will she? I think that you're right to kind of be like, until I see that, I'm going to go in on Mitchell at plus 850. So, all right, I will bold that and try to remember to come back to it at the end of the season. I love that you're going for not the favorite. You're just going for the plus 850. This is the Long Shots podcast. So I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
That is good stuff. Before we close up shop here, do you have any final thoughts? I'll make sure you follow Kate at Kate Constable. I don't know if you want to spell that for folks or anything, but
Constable is just Constable. So just like it sounds, follow me over, on Twitter or X at Kate Constable. Host a show every Saturday from 4 to 7 Eastern on the BetMGM network. And then with NFL starting, our new NFL show, or our seasonal NFL show. So second season that I'll be on, it, BetMGM Game Day, that starts up Sunday morning. So that'll be fun to do throughout the season. But I appreciate you having me on, Jim. It was fun. Glad I could have my Buckets debut. Been listening forever, so this has been awesome.
Oh, absolutely love it. And then got some good bets in here. We'll make sure to log all that. And if you're looking to tail some of the bets we talked about, just look for the quick slip links in the episode description. We'll also post that parlay from the Parlay Express account on Action Network apps. So if you're looking to follow that, go check that out. Otherwise, download the app. I mean, this is like 15th time we've said it in this podcast, 100th time we've said it, overall, if you're somehow still listening, don't have that app. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening on podcast, rate and review. My thanks to David Payne on audio, as always, Gifford Gould and YouTube team. And for myself and Kate, let's get buckets.